Another news, a Minnesota toddler is now being treated in Fargo after a dog attack in Beltrami County. First responders were dispatched to Cass Lake, Minnesota Thursday morning about a 3-year-old with severe injuries.
Police say she and her mother were in their own backyard playing when a dog came into the yard and attacked the child.
Oh, let's stop right there. And before I get into the subject of the live stream, let's stop right there and let's deal with this story. It's very brief, not many details to this story, but the details that they shared, oh boy, I got questions. Now, this is not supposed to happen. Can we please back that up and hear that again? All right, I'm going to play that again.
They say she and her mother were in their own backyard playing when a dog came into the yard and attacked the child.
Whoa. Now, you clearly heard that report, okay? This is the report of the dog attack. This is the dog attack report itself. It said that the mother and the child was playing in the backyard when the dog entered the yard and attacked not the mother, attacked the child. Now, we have to ask a few questions. Why did it attack the child and not the mother? Why did the dog attack the child and not the mother? Was there any reason for the dog to attack the child rather than the mother? Why wouldn't you attack the mother? The mother is a bigger target, isn't she? Wouldn't the mother be viewed as more of a threat in the mind of a dog? Of course, because the mother is larger, she's bigger. But instead, this dog targeted the toddler. Why? It is because dogs prefer to attack toddlers. Simple as that. They're cowardly creatures and they prefer to attack the weakest target. I cannot explain why dogs are that way, but I do know that that's how they are. They go after the weakest target. They take the path of least resistance. Okay? Now you could argue on a certain level that that's intelligent, but we all know dogs are not intelligent. These are anything but. So this dog was fixated on the child, not the mother. That's a problem. Because that means that dogs, what? Are more likely to attack children opposed to adults. So when dogs are in society, when they're in the home, who is in the most danger? It is the children in the home. They are in the most danger. So the dog's presence in the home, in the community, primarily endangers children. That's irrefutable at this point. Which means that dogs, the presence of dogs, violates our laws. And we really didn't have to establish that dogs prefer to attack children to prove that dogs violate our laws. But dogs go above and beyond simply violating the laws that are on the book right now. They go above and beyond. That's why there's no excuse for not banning dogs. There's no excuse.
The victim was flown to Fargo. No word, though, on their current condition. Police did track down that dog. It has now been impounded by the Leech Lake Tribal Police.
Okay.
Another-
Okay. Just a quick, brief story. Okay. Let's hope the 3-year-old is okay. Pretty crazy. You have a group of people here literally predicting these tragedies, literally predicting these mutilations. And instead of doing something about it to stop it, you all are just sitting there twiddling your thumbs, waiting for it to happen. Then it happens, and then you just start twiddling your thumbs again. Now you see the title of the live stream. I had to revisit this story. It is still making the rounds. It's still going viral all over the internet. That is the death of the sheriff's deputy who was killed as she was dog sitting. She was watching someone else's dogs for them. Now, I do believe she was familiar with these dogs. You know, it's not like she had never seen the dogs before, never interacted with them before. Because of the fact that she was inside the home with 3 of them and she had her child in there, I would imagine that she was familiar with these dogs. Plus, you know, she was doing it for someone that she knew, from what I understand. So she was familiar with these dogs. Okay, now I want y'all to listen to this.
The Marion County Sheriff's Office is mourning the loss of a deputy after police say a dog attacked and killed her while protecting her son in her own home.
Whoa. A dog attacked and killed her while protecting her child in her own home. Why did they word it like that? She was dog sitting.
While protecting her son in her own home. Animal Care Services says the dog was a pit bull, one of several at the home. Neighbors tell our Eric Graves they had been concerned about the dogs at that home for the past few days.
Concerned about the dogs? You see how they word this just right off the bat? Almost talking about the dogs as if the dogs are victims, like right away. Oh, concerned about the dogs. Who cares about the dogs? No, the dogs are not in danger. They're never in danger. But they're always using this type of language. Oh, concerned about the dogs. Oh, stop.
About the dogs at that home for the past few days.
We're told Tamika White was a great friend, mother, and co-worker. The dog she was watching at the time of the attack, neighbors say they had caused some problems in the past just a few days before.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Neighbors are familiar with these dogs. Again, that's why I say she was familiar with this. This was not the first time she had saw these dogs. The neighbors recognized the dogs because they had called the police before, and this was a police officer. It's like, okay, now they're saying that this was her home. Okay, so she had someone else's dogs over at her home, and this is normal for her. That really threw me off. That doesn't make sense. But that's obviously what's going on. This was her home, but these were not her dogs. Yet her neighbors are familiar with the dogs. That means the dogs are over there often. So what is she, the designated dog sitter? Think about that. Is she the neighborhood dog sitter? That is weird. This woman watching other people's dogs, pit bulls at that, so often that the neighbors are familiar with them.
Co-worker, the dog she was watching at the time of the attack. Neighbors say they had caused some problems in the past. Just a few days before, they'd broken through a fence right here and gotten out into the neighborhood.
Okay, so the dogs had broken out of the fence at another date. That's how some of these neighbors were familiar with the dogs.
It's really heartbreaking.
Neighbors say Tamika White's young son came running out of the front doors of their home here in the 1700 block of Forsythia Drive Tuesday night.
He was in shock. He kept repeating several things over and over concerning his mom.
He kept repeating several things over and over concerning his mom. That is terrible. That is terrible. Oh my goodness. And this is what I'm saying. You should not create an environment that makes something like this possible. Does that make sense? Especially when you're not getting any benefit out of creating a dangerous environment like that anyways. Get no benefit whatsoever. You just putting yourself at risk. Yeah, so this boy was traumatized. He was clearly traumatized. And of course he will be. And like I said, he's never going to forget this day. This has burned into his memory. His mom was killed. Ain't no dog on this planet worth putting some 6-year-old, some child through something like this. Ain't no dog on this planet worth putting a child through something like this. Y'all should not be in possession of dogs just so something like this don't happen. What is y'all thinking? I'm sorry. Let me back this up. Let's finish this. Going off on one of my tirades. I'm sorry.
He was in shock. He kept repeating several things over and over concerning his mom.
Police say a dog attacked and killed White while she was watching it and 2 others inside her home.
Watching it and 2 others. You have 3 pit bulls inside this tiny little home. There's no upstairs. You're basically in one room with 3 pit bulls and your son.
Her dog and cat were also in the home at the time. White worked as
So it was 4 dogs in there. 4. Okay. 4 dogs and a cat.
White worked as a Marion County Sheriff's Office deputy for nearly 17 years.
You never saw her without a smile.
Okay. So this is what I'm talking about. Most people who carry a weapon, who carry firearms, they can't wait for the day that somebody tries to rob them inside their own home. They can't wait for the day some idiot tries to break into their home, assuming that the homeowner is unarmed, where they can have the law behind them as they blow that thief away. Yep. The last person or person's home you want to break into is the home of a sheriff's deputy. You'll probably be in trouble. You break into a sheriff's deputy's home. But here, just imagine breaking into a sheriff's deputy's home and then slowly stabbing them to death. Would you break into their home with a dagger? Would you arm yourself with a dagger only and feel confident? Of course not. You wouldn't even do that. Like, oh no, I'm about to get shot. This is the home of a sheriff's deputy. I have 2 daggers. Oh, it's a wrap. I'm going to get blown away. But here, she was inside of this home with 3 pit bulls. She knew that she'd be inside of the home with 3 pit bulls before she was inside of the home with 3 pit bulls. So she had plenty of time to prepare for this type of living arrangements or sitting arrangements. Prepare for anything and everything. Why wasn't there a gun handy? I'm very curious. Why would not, especially for a sheriff's deputy, why wouldn't there be a gun handy? Especially when you know you got 3 pit bulls inside of a home. I don't know what type of dog the other one was, but there are 4 dogs inside the home, 3 pit bulls. And 3 of those pit bulls are not yours. They're not your dog. Why wasn't there a gun handy? If there was no gun handy, my guess would be that she trusted the dogs a lot. Would be my guess, right? If there's no gun in the home, which is hard for me to believe, then she really trusted these dogs. But if there was a gun inside the home, why didn't she pick it up immediately and use it as soon as the first dog tried to attack her son? Was she aware that there was a gun available, and did she make a conscious decision not to use it and instead to try to wrestle the dog off of her son? Could she have neutralized the attack? Neutralized the dogs? Had she used her weapon immediately? These are things I'm wondering. I'm wondering if she had a chance. Did she have time to grab her weapon and shoot these dogs and decide not to, because these were the holy creatures of our earth that you should never harm, not one hair on their body? I'm very curious. Where was her weapon? Why didn't she go for it? Did she go for it? Look, maybe she did. Maybe she had her gun on her person or in her hand as she was being attacked. I'm just saying, I'm wondering these things. Did she have time to grab that weapon? If so, and she didn't, why didn't she? See, in my opinion, you have to be anti-dog in order to navigate in this world. You have to be anti-dog. You have to be against dogs. You have to not trust them. You have to always be ready for them. Always be prepared. And the only way to be prepared is if you don't trust them. If you trust them, there's no reason to be prepared. You know, I think it's scary. It's very troubling that a police officer would be oblivious to the threat. That is troubling to me. They are the ones who I would trust would be a lot more familiar with dog attacks and how often they happen. I always assume police officers know more than the average citizen. They're more familiar with dog attacks. And this police officer of almost 20 years was inside of a home with 3 pit bulls and another dog on top of that, with her son, her toddler, and there was no weapon available. That is incredible to me. Dog love in general, like I've said, I'll continue to say, is dangerous. Us humans, we should not be in love with deadly predators. And look, nobody should have to tell us this. The last thing we need to be in love with is predators. Why does anyone have to tell you this? It's so sad. So sad. I don't get off on, making mockery of these people's lack of intelligence. I don't. It does nothing for me. I'd rather see you not engaged in this lifestyle and not have to say anything to you than to see you engaged in this lifestyle and try to say something to you and see that it doesn't even make a dent. That's a lot more frustrating, right? The latter situation. And that's the situation we're in right now, where these people can't see the most obvious. The most obvious. It's so sad. Oh my goodness. And you know what's even sadder than that? They don't believe me. They think I'm being dishonest. No, they believe that I get off on mocking them, making fun of them. No, I don't. I'd much rather I'd much rather know that there are no dogs in my neighborhood and have to close this channel. If I could push a button, I'd push it. Okay? But this is depressing, just seeing people this duped, this brainwashed, where they get themselves hurt and they hurt and traumatize others. This boy, her son, is going to be traumatized for the rest of his life. All over a dog, a worthless dog that was completely useless, worthless. Life had no value. In fact, nature didn't even intend for it to exist. We're dying over things that are not even supposed to be here. It does not get any more backwards than that. Oh boy. My goodness. Isn't it crazy? Yeah, too many police officers are dog lovers. Too many police officers are dog lovers. It really is a contradiction. Protect and serve, but you're in love with dogs. Probably the number one terrorists of communities. You got to make sacrifices. If you want to stand up for something, if you want to do something major, you got to make sacrifices. And listen, if you're in love with these things, these creatures, something's wrong with you anyways. You shouldn't see it as a sacrifice by cutting off dogs and not having any. You should not want to have anything to do with them anyways. Shouldn't be seen as a sacrifice. The problem is you being obsessed with these creatures. Listen, in all these pit nutters, there is nothing about the way that a pit bull looks or bully breeds, nothing about the way they look, that is worth the bloodshed that they cause. You have to be kidding me. The lives that they ruin, the people they attack, obviously the children and babies that they attack, are their safety from these mutants is far more important than whatever thrill you get out of looking at them. So sad. I feel like I'm talking to a bunch of kids. You don't get nothing more out of pit bulls, dogs, other than the opportunity to look at them. Because touching them does nothing for you. You can't even mention that as a benefit. They just like to look at them. You got to be careful, man. You can become attached to anything. You can open yourself up to be addicted to being a serial killer. That's exactly what serial killers do. They rationalize what they're doing. They make it sound logical in their mind. And then boom, you have a lunatic who doesn't see anything wrong with his or her lifestyle. That's you. You know, it seems like the dog lovers, they think that just because it feels good, then it must be okay. No, not everything that feels good is good or beneficial. Some things that feel good is actually a crime, is actually immoral. What am I forgetting? Help me out here. What am I forgetting? How many different ways can you try to plead with? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What do I have to do to make you value yourself as a human being to the point where you don't share your living quarters with dogs? Whatever I have to do, I'll do it. Whatever I can do. If I can't do it, I'll try to figure out a way to do it. Shout out to everybody able to join me on this brief rant. Oh my goodness. But I seriously need an answer to that. I need an answer to that question. Please. Why didn't she shoot that dog? Because I would imagine she had an opportunity. If you know you have 3 pit bulls in the home and you're a sheriff's deputy and your child is inside the home, why aren't you walking around the house with the gun on you? I mean, I'm not the type to be around pit bulls, but if I were, I definitely have a gun on me, especially with 3 of them. Was she not familiar with the pack mentality in dogs and how they say that the more dogs there are, the chances of being attacked goes up, and it goes up. It like quadruples. It like triples, doubles, quadruples, real fast. Dogs become a lot more bold and aggressive when there are 3 of them. And here, there was 4 of them inside the home. Why wasn't she walking around the house with her gun? And if she had it, why didn't she use it? As soon as that first dog attacked, she should have been letting off bullets, knowing the pack mentality of dogs. And that if one is attacking, then there's no sense in trying to wrestle with it, because the other ones are going to jump in and help that dog. You have to put them down. And I understand she was thinking that they're not her dogs, but man, please. I don't need to go there. I don't need to go there. So, yeah, tragic, horrible story. I try to keep up with all of these stories. I always have my own personal questions in cases like this. Nobody can convince me that I have cynophobia, i.e. a mental disorder or social disorder. There's nothing wrong with me or anyone like me. Us people who avoid places where there are dogs. If we find out that there are dogs, especially bully breeds, please, we will not be there. We're not going to be anywhere near that area. And this is one of the reasons why. Nobody's going to convince me something's wrong with me for making this decision. good luck to the people in the medical industry, whoever is in charge of making these definitions or whatever. This is not going to last. I don't think it is. It's not going to last for too much longer. Okay? You got obvious holes in your diagnosis or whatever you call it. Right, what's going on? Okay. How's everybody? Ambassador, okay. How's everybody doing? I thought I read a comment or something. Somebody is in the hospital. Is everybody okay? I hope y'all not in the hospital. I told y'all I have tinnitus. And it was bothering me so bad. I was sitting up here having a real bad episode of tinnitus. I didn't know what it was. I thought I had water in my ear. You know how it sounds like when you go swimming, you get water in your ear. That's how it sounds now, and it's nonstop. I'm like, what is this? And I noticed my hearing out of that ear is not that good. So I'm losing my hearing in my right ear, and I have periodic episodes of tinnitus. The worst thing in the world. It ruined my whole Saturday. I was sitting up here dizzy, and I have this episode of tinnitus where I get lightheaded. I was getting lightheaded up here. I'm like, whoa, what am I having, a heart attack or what? Head was ringing. This was like a nightmare. Getting old, man. I'm like, what? I had to Google my symptoms. I had to Google sound, low pitch vibration in ear. I need to get a doctor. That's what I need. I need a doctor I can trust. I'm getting to that age where I need to be able to call me a reliable doctor. Oh my goodness. Shout out to everybody. What is day? Monday. Happy Monday to everybody. Hope y'all getting the week off on the right foot. Let's stay disciplined and let's be strong. Don't let these nutters break you. Periodically, you'll reach a breaking point. I do all the time. Where it's like, look, man, I give up. What's the point? What's the point? It's not going to change nothing. Yes, we will. And yes, we are. We will change the world, and we are changing the world. Let's not underestimate what we're doing out here. Yes. Yeah. I went to the gym today. But I'm always at the gym. I don't know. This is just weird. Of all things, tinnitus. Okay. Losing my hearing. Okay. I can deal with that. That's not too bad. I still got another ear. Right? Shout out to everybody able to join me for this live stream. And I hope to see you all back on the next as we continue with this crusade.